I was leaving the pub when I bumped into her. She was beautiful, even in the rain. Her blonde hair and blue eyes sparkled despite the weather. She looked like an angel. "Sorry, I should have been paying attention," I said. She smiled. "No worries. It's just rain. I'm Valerie Jenkins. What's your name?" "Al, nice to meet you." We clicked instantly, like it was meant to be. Then she spoke. "I like talking to you. Maybe we could get together sometime?" I needed someone, so we met for a date the next week. She told me she worked as an art consultant, appraising new artists' work. I mentioned I was in the Marines and had just buried my parents, leaving out the fact that I'd inherited a fortune. I didn't trust her enough yet. As time passed, we grew closer. I told her I'd leave the military after one more year. I loved it, but the more time I spent with her, the more I didn't want to go. It felt like she was sent to pull me out of my darkness. I would have done anything for her. We made love whenever we could. She was insatiable. But it wasn't just the Zex. It was her. The way she smiled when she saw me. How she comforted me when memories of my parents hit me, reminding me they loved me. She lit up a room and made everything feel right when I'd spent so long in the dark. When I told her this was my last tour, she was thrilled. At that point, we'd been together for a year. I finally told her about my inheritance. She just kissed me. "Al, I don't care about your money. I love you. I want to build a life with you. Just you." I proposed right there, where we met. We had a small wedding at the courthouse, and she signed the prenup. I was surprised, but her insistence reassured me I'd found the right woman. We went to Hawaii for a week before I had to leave again, making love everywhere. Our room, the beach, you name it. Waking up next to her was heaven. We spent our honeymoon in Jamaica, and from the moment we stepped into our room, we couldn't keep our hands off each other. It was wild, passionate, and I felt like the luckiest man alive. When the honeymoon ended, we went home. We bought a beautiful house near Lancaster with a big backyard for privacy. I kissed my wife goodbye before leaving for tour, promising to video chat and write when I could. But as the months passed, I noticed changes. We used to talk every Thursday and Friday, but she started missing calls. When we did talk, she seemed distant. We'd go from chatting for hours to barely 7 minutes. I asked her about it one day. "Valerie, what's going on? You seem different. It's like I'm talking to someone who's not really here." "Don't worry, Al. Work's just been crazy. Clients are more demanding. Nothing's wrong." Her words didn't match her tone. But what could I do? I was across the world fighting, and she was there. I decided to focus on my mission. I told her I only had 4 months left. "I love you. Be safe, honey." She didn't say it back. I didn't realize it then, but that would be my last mission, my last year. In the Marines, there are wars no one knows about. This one took us to Korangal Valley, Afghanistan, a fatal trap. Rebels allied with pill cartels ran the area. They'd recently split off, and now they were wreaking havoc. A CIA asset was trapped there, so we were sent in to get him out. The Korangal Valley was a meat grinder. Convoys were fatal for most Marines. But with new recruits who didn't know better, we went in. They got the asset out, but the whole convoy was lost. They were expendable. We were told to stand down by a guy from DC. He said it was too risky, but we knew what the enemy did to prisoners, tortured them, then dumped their bodies. We couldn't leave them, but disobeying orders meant risking everything. I went out anyway with a few brothers. The others had to stay. We found the prisoners and took action. I went for the power hub, the key to the camp. I saw the prisoners, but most soldiers were elsewhere. My squad split up. I took the prisoners while they went north. I saw a guard leave the house where they were holding a prisoner, and I shot him. Inside, soldiers were attacking a female soldier. One guy was trying to cut her belt. Another held her down. She head-bumped him, grabbed the knife, and slit his throat. Another guy pulled a pistol. "Forget her, we'll just screw her body," he shouted. I shot him and the others. I identified myself and helped her gather herself. Time was running out, so we armed her and joined the others. The prisoners helped us, and we grabbed weapons from the dead. When we got to the control center, we learned they were running more than just pills. They were into human trafficking and bioweapons. We took everything valuable and planted explosives to wipe out the rest. As we were leaving, one enemy guard spotted us. I shot him, but it gave away our position. The battle was fierce, but we fought through without losing anyone. Then there was an explosion. It hurt, but the shrapnel in my left eye was worse. More soldiers showed up, in pain, but determined. I remembered the anti-tank missiles in the control room. I made my way back, ordered my team to hold off the enemy, and used their own missiles against them. Once we cleared the base, I set off the explosives. The camp was gone. We rescued 50 POWs, grabbed intel on global criminal networks, including human trafficking and bioweapon locations. We stopped a bioattack and reunited families. No one died, except for my eye. My commanding officer wanted to court-martial me, but after the mission's success, I got a Purple Heart, a Silver Star, and the Medal of Honor. The president couldn't give it to me in person, but he did it over video with the same guy who told us to stand down presenting the medal. I couldn't help but smile a little at how pissed off he looked while handing it over. The officer couldn't lock me up, but he ended my career. Effective immediately, I was honorably discharged. Just like that, I was sent home. I sat on the plane, looking down at Philadelphia below. The flight was comfortable, but it felt strange. I was supposed to come back in 2 months, but everything changed. I should have been happy to return to Valerie, but I felt a loss. I missed the camaraderie, the crazy times with my friends, the battles. We saved the world, and now it was over. I thought about the scene in Rambo where he talks about operating million-dollar machines and now struggling to park cars. What was I going to do? All I knew was how to be a soldier. Maybe I could be a mechanic. I'd fixed enough Humvees and trucks to last a lifetime. As I took the train to Lancaster, I looked at the familiar landscape. Valerie would be at work by the time I got there. I could use the time to think. Lancaster finally came into view, and I felt a spark of excitement despite everything. I reached the train station parking lot. My 1970 Dodge Challenger Kowalski was still there. Dad and I used to watch Vanishing Point all the time, and I named it after the main character. After inheriting the money, I bought it and fixed it up. Dad would have loved it. I got home, exhausted, with a vase of tiger lilies for Valerie. But something felt off. There was a Ford F-150 in the driveway, something Valerie would never drive. Then I saw her car. My stomach dropped. I slammed the door open, and the sight hit me like a ton of bricks. 2 glasses of wine, half full, sitting there on the table, like nothing was wrong. A pair of shoes I didn't recognize, and then I saw it. Her bra thrown carelessly across the couch like she was proud of it. My blood went cold. My stomach twisted into a knot. I could hear them. Couldn't ignore the sounds coming from upstairs. Valerie's voice, high and needy, but not for me. Not anymore. Oh my God, Sean. Yes, that's it. Harder, harder, baby. Oh, Sean. My chest felt like it was going to cave in. I couldn't move at first. I just stood there, frozen, my hand shaking on the doorknob. The house that was once mine, where I thought we were building something, turned into a freaking joke. A place where I wasn't wanted. I stumbled toward the stairs, the moans getting louder, like a bad soundtrack to my life, echoing through the halls. Oh God, you're so much better than my husband. That loser doesn't know how to please a woman. He never has, never will. Her voice, that tone, like she was mocking me. Everything I'd ever done for her, every sacrifice, every freaking promise I made, shattered. The rage boiled up, thick and hot, burning me from the inside. I was seeing red as I dragged myself up the stairs. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to see it, had to know. When I reached the door, I threw it open with all the force I had. Valerie's eyes went wide, shock written all over her face. The fool lying on top of her didn't even flinch. He just smirked, like he had every right to be there, like it was just another day for him. Didn't say a word, didn't need to. The tool was all the answer I needed. Valerie's eyes went from shock to panic as she scrambled to cover herself. But it was too late. Sean, please, she started, her voice shaking, but I cut her off. Shut up, I growled. You don't get to speak to me like that, not after everything. The a-hole on top of her tried to push her away, hands raised, thinking he could talk his way out. Dude, I didn't know, okay? I swear, I didn't know she was— Save it, prick, I snapped, pointing the tool at him. I don't care if you didn't know. It doesn't matter now. Valerie's face was a mix of fear and anger. You really gonna shoot us, Sean? You think you can just come in here and— I cut her off, my voice low, deadly. You really think I give a crap what you have to say right now? You screwed me over, and now you're gonna pay for it. Her eyes flashed with defiance, even as she tried to back away, pulling the sheets around her body. You were always so damn weak, always playing the nice guy, trying to please everyone. You think you're some kind of hero? Her words hit me harder than a slap. They always knew how to twist the knife deeper, didn't they? Yeah, I said, my voice trembling with rage. I was weak. But I'm done being weak. You both made sure of that. The fool jumped off the bed, hands raised, trying to plead for his life. Come on, man. We can work this out. We can. Before he could finish, I pulled the trigger. One shot straight to her chest. Valerie's mouth opened, but no sound came out. She dropped back onto the bed, eyes wide in disbelief. The fool on the floor, his face turned from cocky to pure terror. What the hell, man? I didn't need to hear his pathetic excuses. I shot him in the gut, watching his body jerk from the impact. His scream echoed in the room as he tried to crawl toward the door. I kept pulling the trigger, over and over. Please, no, don't, he begged, his voice breaking. But I didn't care anymore. Not for him, not for her. I emptied the clip, and when I finally stopped, his screams, his begging, they were nothing now, just noise. I stared at the destruction around me, the two of them, lifeless. My chest heaved as the adrenaline started to wear off. I looked down at Valerie, my arms shaking as I pulled her to me, tears streaming down my face. I couldn't even speak. The words wouldn't come. Why? I finally whispered, my voice cracking. Why, Valerie? After everything? Why'd you do this to me? I couldn't stay. I knew what would happen next. I'd go to prison. No one would care about me being a war hero. I was just a PTSD case who eliminated his wife. I thought about the vault Dad had installed after winning the lottery. It kept money safe, airtight. Mom gave me the code, Conan, the night they told me about it. If anything ever happened, I could disappear with the money, and I needed to now. I called the cops from a burner phone, reporting shots fired, then destroyed it. I didn't want Valerie's body left there. Then I drove off with bags of cash in the trunk. I contacted Simon, a friend from Afghanistan. He was the guy you went to if you wanted to disappear. We met when I saved his life. Now he was among the most powerful criminals in the country. When I arrived at his place around 3 a.m., the place was hidden in the woods. Simon, fit as ever, greeted me with a hug. Good to see you, brother. Wish it were under better circumstances. He raised an eyebrow. Talk to me, man. What's going on? I told him everything. About the mission, getting kicked out of the Marines with a good record, and finding Valerie. Simon had a knack for reading people. He could tell who would be your loyal friend or your worst enemy. It wasn't surprising, but when he warned me about Valerie, I didn't listen. I wanted the beautiful lie, not the ugly truth. You were right, man, about her. I didn't want to believe it. I'm sorry, I said. Simon just tapped my shoulder. What are you sorry for? Falling in love? It happens. You'll learn from it. I looked at him. I get it. You offered help, but I want more. I'm here because of you. I have a family because of you. You helped me. Now I'll help you. I didn't think you were the settling down type, Simon chuckled. You with a wedding ring? He laughed again. Yeah, it happened, but I wouldn't change a thing. Simon smiled, rubbing his ring, then told me about his wife, Shannon, and their daughter, Alice. They gave him a love he never expected. I congratulated him, then stood as he finished his beer. All right, let's get you off the grid, he said. We headed to the nearby building. Watching Simon work was like watching a pro. He hacked DMV records like he ran the place. I used to call him Sponge. He soaked up everything. He even got me a new social security number. Most people would take weeks for this, but Simon did it in minutes. He handed me a passport, driver's license, and social security card. Hello, Jason Wynn. Nice to meet you. He grinned like a Cheshire cat. I smiled back. He put a hand on my shoulder. I'm sorry for what happened, brother. I'll look into the guy you shot. Something feels off. I've been caught up with work, Shannon, and Alice. I haven't checked on your side in a while, but I'll let you know what I find. Suddenly, Simon's phone rang. His face turned serious. Al, my contact in Lancaster found a phone in your bedroom. They'll send it to me, and we'll see what else is on it. There's more to this than we know. There was a cell phone? I asked. Yeah, the cops would figure out it was you eventually. This gives you a way out. He pointed at the new ID. You're my brother. I'm not just talking about the core. You've saved my family. Don't forget that. He hugged me before I left. I drove west, unsure where to go. With millions in my trunk, it wasn't hard. Glad Simon gave me a few things, including 50 grand. We argued about it until he threatened to kick my bum if I didn't take it. I laughed and finally accepted. No telling how long I could last off the grid, but I had to keep a low profile. I stayed out of cities and grew a beard. My family's men have a weird knack for growing them fast. It helped distract from my face. I took odd jobs when I could, working at factories or warehouses, stayed in affordable hotels. Nothing too cheap. One day, I sat in a diner in Indiana when a news bulletin came on. They showed my face on the screen. The FBI was after me for liquidating Valerie and her lover, Franklin Jefferson. I'm Special Agent Alex Murphy. We've been investigating the double homicide of Valerie Simmons and Franklin Jefferson. We believe Jason Simmons is responsible. He's armed and dangerous. If you see him, don't approach him. Call the authorities. The reporter asked the agent, "Anything you want to say to Mr. Simmons?" Murphy didn't hesitate. "Do everyone a favor and turn yourself in, Mr. Simmons." The cameras rolled as he walked away. I knew it was time to leave. I paid my bill, left a tip, and headed out before anyone recognized me. I don't know how long I'd been driving. 8, 12, 24 hours? I was exhausted. I didn't notice the embankment until I crashed into it, then darkness. When I woke up, I was in a small, comfy room. My ribs were bandaged and I was clean, though I didn't remember showering. I had no idea where my clothes or car were. The door opened and a woman walked in. She was in her late 40s, early 50s, with dark hair and a warm smile. She was short, but there was something comforting about her. "Glad you're awake? How do you feel?" she asked. I blinked. Where am I?" She smiled slightly. "You're in our home, right in Benton County, Indiana. Population's under 9,000, so whoever you're running from won't bother you here." My heart sank. All my stuff was gone. Clothes, car, everything. "Your car's getting fixed by my husband in the garage. It took some damage, but should be fine soon. We also found your money in the trunk," she added. The woman set a bag with my clean clothes down, then pulled a double-barrel rifle from behind the door, aiming it at me. "Now, sir, don't take offense. My husband found you in your car while hunting. He brought you here, and I patched you up. You've been out for over a week. Without us, you wouldn't have made it. You had a few million in that bag, so here's the deal. You get dressed, meet us downstairs, and we'll talk about why you're here and what might be following you. That work?" Her warm smile stayed, but the tool in her hands and the calm confidence told me she'd done this before. She had control. I figured she wouldn't hesitate to shoot me if needed. "No problem, ma'am," I said, keeping it cool. I got dressed, feeling the strain on my ribs. The bandage on my head was tender too, but I made my way downstairs. The woman called me over to the dining table, where an older man sat next to her. He was tall, about 6'1", and had a hard look that told me he knew violence. His body was fit for his age, strong enough to hurt anyone who crossed him. He had a beard too. Both of them seemed off, like they weren't just civilians. "Nice to meet you, Mr. Wynn. Or do you prefer Simmons?" he asked. I raised an eyebrow. How did they know who I was? "Your name was on your dog tag," he said. "We're not a secret government agency, son, just regular folks, unlike the movies." I felt dumb for thinking that. The woman chuckled at my reaction. The man's face grew serious. "So, care to explain why I found a duffel bag of cash with you?" He pulled out a .357 Magnum and aimed it at me. "This would have been a different conversation if I found you empty-handed, but I didn't. So tell me how you ended up here, if I even think you're lying." He cocked the hammer. "The last thing you'll see is the flash of this tool before it blows your skull open." I had no choice. I told them everything. About my parents dying, the winning lottery ticket, the Marines, and finding Valerie with another man. I told them about the months on the road, and when I finished, it felt like I was finally accepting it. "Look, I get it. You're not cops, but not civilians either. Do what you need to. Just sell the car. It's all I have left of my dad, and he'd hate for it to get scrapped." The couple exchanged a look and then laughed like they heard a funny joke. "Damn, kid. Your generation really knows how to be dramatic," the man said, chuckling. Once the laughter died down, he spoke again. "Name's Vincent Galloway. This is my wife, Bridget. We've been here for a while." He tossed the bag to me. "It's all there, but if you want to count it, go ahead. Your car's fixed too. It had some engine damage, but I boosted it. You could race that thing if you wanted. And since you're a bit banged up, I'm offering you a place to stay until you heal." I was shocked. These people who had just aimed tools at me were now helping, giving me back my things and offering me a place to rest. "From the look on your face, I guess you're wondering why we didn't just eliminate you and take your stuff," he said. "I won't lie, that did cross my mind," I admitted. Vincent laughed. "Let's just say we have more in common than you think. I got a good vibe about you." I'll tell you why one day, but for now, rest up. As the months passed, I formed a bond with Vincent and Bridget. It turned out Vincent had been part of an elite mercenary unit called the Zombies. Their job was to eliminate targets before anyone knew they were there, leaving no trace. They did everything from protection to rescues, and their clients were governments, criminal organizations, or anyone who paid well. But they had rules. They didn't damage innocents. Once, they took a job from a criminal group to protect a shipment. The shipment turned out to be human trafficking sufferers, women and children. The unit freed them, sent them back to their families, and exposed the whole trafficking network to the authorities, destroying the organization. The criminals who survived wanted revenge. They hunted down the unit and their families, liquidating them. Vincent grimaced as he remembered the deaths. Some of the guys were eliminated in their own beds. Vincent survived the assassination attempt, but by the time he got to his team, they were all dead. For the next 48 hours, Vincent hunted down the criminals who had destroyed his unit. He was a decorated Navy SEAL and knew how to eliminate the threat. During the chaos, he met Bridget, a young woman who had been taken by the same group. She was forced into the Zex trade just a day before Vincent found her. He eliminated the men abusing her and promised to protect her. Bridget, a former orphan, had just graduated high school. She was short with blonde hair, 20 years old, and had a striking look. She'd been taken, attacked in the van, and forced into the trade. Vincent saved her and swore to protect her. Over time, a bond formed between them, and they grew close amidst the chaos. When it was over, Vincent and Bridget had eliminated the men responsible, but so had over 150 members of the organization. They tracked down the last man behind it all, Arthur Flagenheimer, a rogue U.S. agent who controlled the underworld. He used blackmail and manipulation to keep both criminals and politicians in his pocket. There was no moral line for him, just greed and cruelty. Vincent and Bridget found him at his penthouse. They had already taken out his guards and men, so he was alone. Arthur begged for his life, holding on to the railing. Vincent looked at him coolly. "If you want to live, bring back my friends and their families." Arthur, in tears, whimpered, "It was just business, nothing personal." Vincent smiled, then let Arthur go. The man fell to his end. They took all the money from his vault, over 300 million. Vincent offered Bridget half of it, telling her to stay away from someone like him. She slapped him in response. "You saved me from a life worse than end. You've saved me so many times, and now you think you can just throw me away?" She kissed him. "I love you, you idiot, and I'm not going anywhere." Vincent kissed her back. They fixed up the old family farm in Indiana, raising livestock and staying away from town. It was their place, and they were happy. Every time Vincent talked about the slap, he laughed, and Bridget would punch him playfully. One day, while we were working in the barn, Vincent spoke up. "Hey, Al, Bridget and I were talking. Why don't you stay with us until things calm down? You seem to like it here. You're always helping out with the farm. This place is peaceful, man. What do you think?" I thought about it. "You've got a point, Vinny." So I stayed for the next year. Vincent hired me as a co-driver for when he needed to pick up cars to tow or fix. With my fake ID, a fuller beard, and the muscle I'd built working on the farm, I was hard to recognize. Bridget could cook anything, and she was hilarious. No matter how bad the day was, dinner with her would make you laugh and forget your worries. You could tell she and Vincent were crazy about each other. One day after lunch, Bridget came over to me. "Hey Al, got a minute? There's something I've been meaning to ask." I raised an eyebrow. "Sure, what's up?" She sat down across from me. "Your wife, what was her name again? What did she look like?" I reminded her of Valerie's name and looks. Bridget frowned, thinking. I didn't think much about it before. I hate cheaters, so I wasn't upset. But now, it's the pattern that bothers me. I was confused. "What pattern?" "Al, you were her target. She was going to con you, take your money, maybe even have you eliminated. I remember you saying you won the lottery and she just happened to run into you after your folks died. That was no accident. She saw your family's name in the lottery announcement. She planned to go after your dad, but he was a cop. After your parents died, she saw her chance. I felt uneasy. Then I remembered Simon had said something about her too. I need to make a call. Bridget, is there somewhere I can do that without causing trouble?" Bridget thought for a moment. "We've got a landline, but those calls can be tracked. We've got a bunker on the property, though. It's hidden and it's secure. No one can trace a call from there." We told Vinny what was going on, and he led us to the bunker. It was hidden under camouflage, and the path only revealed itself when Vinny pulled a lever. The bunker was old, but the upper level was fully functional. "This was a nuclear shelter," Vinny said. "It's deep enough to survive a blast. I keep it running in case we need it." Inside, I made my call. The phone was military grade, and the moment it picked up, I said, "Simon, it's me." There was a pause. "Al, where have you been? I haven't heard from you in months." I filled him in on what had happened and told him about Vinny and Bridget. Then I mentioned Valerie. "Bridget's right," Simon said. I dug into her. Her real name's Jessica Saunders. She's a grifter, swindling people for years. Anyone who didn't give her money, something bad happened to them. And before the cops could catch her, she'd disappear. I sat back stunned. "She was a grifter?" Simon went on. "There's more. The guy she was with? He was her lover. He had videos of her planning to set you up, get you drunk, frame you with a hooker and pills, then have you locked up. While you were in prison, she'd clean out your accounts and have you eliminated. She was planning to take everything, including your parents' inheritance." I couldn't speak. My stomach dropped. I looked at Bridget's hand on my shoulder, offering comfort. I felt so betrayed. The woman I loved was after my money and would have had me eliminated. "I'm sorry, man," Simon said. "I know you loved her, but you taking her out did the world a favor." I thanked Simon and everyone for the info. Simon offered help and funds to Bridget and Vinny if they needed anything for me. I tried to come to terms with the fact that my wife had wanted me dead for money, like a vulture waiting for me to die. It made me sick to think I'd slept with her. I still felt the loss, not guilt, but the loss of what we could have been. But she was gone, and I was alive. In time, I'd accept that. Life on the farm moved forward. I grew closer to my new family. I felt something I thought I'd lost, a sense of family and friendship. Simon was the only friend I kept in touch with, and the few I had left alive were distant. But here, I found true friendship and love. Despite everything, I knew I'd stand by these people, no matter what. Months passed, and I understood what it meant to be family. They were active for their age, especially with affection. Despite their years, they weren't shy about showing it. Some nights, their bedroom sounds made it clear. One night, Bridget came out of her room, humming, her robe partly open. I'd just gotten back late from work, needing a quick shower by the barn. After I cleaned up, I was heading upstairs when I bumped into a half-undressed, startled Bridget. Her blissful mood from earlier was shattered. "Oh my God, Al, I'm so sorry." Before I could say anything, she rushed back to Vinny's room like an embarrassed teenager. Vinny laughed when he heard, and I had to admit I did too. Bridget and Vinny became my adopted parents. Our shared stories and support made our bond stronger. They weren't my real parents, but I could love them like they were. Vinny even started calling me nephew when people asked. We often helped stranded travelers. One of the things I admired most about Vinny was his knowledge. He was a martial artist, skilled in boxing, jiu-jitsu, karate, Russian combat, and more. He trained me in all of it. At first, I was worried I'd hurt him, but soon enough, Bridget was the one hearing me scream, not the fun kind. Vinny also taught me how to handle weapons, far beyond what I learned in boot camp. Rifles, pistols, blunt objects, you name it. By the end of the year, I was a weapon myself. Bridget loved to tease us. "You guys are like Batman and Robin," I smirked. "I'm more Jason Todd, and you're more Frank Castle." One day, sitting on the porch, something told me it was time to go. I told Bridget and Vinny, and though they were sad, they understood. Vinny brought out the car he'd been fixing up for me. It looked as good as new. "She'll last you, and here's some extra cash." Vinny handed me a stack of bills. $100,000. "Don't argue with me. Bridget'll kick both our bums if you don't take it." We laughed. I hugged Vinny, thanking him for everything. "I won't forget what you've done for me. Just take care of yourself, Al." Vinny smiled and patted my back. When I turned to hug Bridget, she jumped into my arms, tears flowing. "Al, we never had kids. After everything that happened to me, I couldn't. Do you know how hard it is for a woman to know she can't have children at 20 because of what was done to her?" Bridget broke down. I held her, and even Vinny had tears. "Thank God Vinny found me," she said, looking at him. "He's done more for me than he'll ever know." Vinny smiled. "I love you, Angel." Bridget looked at me, still holding me tight. "I know we didn't have a traditional start, but the more I got to know you, the more I thank God for bringing you into our lives. You're like a son to us, Al. And if you ever feel alone or need to disappear, you come back. You come back home. To the people who love you. We all cried. I hugged her as best I could. Vinny joined in. Bridget sobbed. Promise you'll come back. I looked into her tearful eyes. I promise, Bridget. I love you both. Thank you for everything. With that, I loaded my stuff into the car and started the engine. It roared to life, sounding beautiful. I waved at Vinny and Bridget one last time as I left the farm. Bridget cried in Vinny's arms as I drove away. I couldn't quite explain it, but I felt like I had gained something I'd lost long ago. Months passed. I headed west, southwest to be exact. I kept my cash low-key. I didn't want attention, no flashy jobs. I worked at rundown gas stations, mechanical shops, and as a farmhand. I even drove a bus for a while. I stayed under the radar, never using credit cards, always paid in cash. I had a new identity, and I wasn't planning on going to prison. I made my way to a small town in Travis County, Texas. It's where everything changed. I was starving and just wanted something simple. Cold cuts and veggies. I drove until I saw a farm stand, pulled over, and got what I needed. When I walked up to the stand, that's when I saw her. The most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. She had dark hair, blue eyes, and a light blue sundress that fluttered in the wind. Her smile could have been made by heaven itself. Hello, can I help you, honey? Is something wrong with the product? I tried to speak, but for the first time in my life, I froze. I was totally caught off guard. And there she stood, smiling at me like it was nothing. I'm sorry, ma'am. I just didn't expect you to. She just kept smiling. Damn, this woman was beautiful. I was still trying to wrap my head around it when a kid came running out of nowhere, slamming into me. She quickly scooped him up. Michael, watch where you're going, honey. You can't just run into people like that, she said, turning back to me. Sorry, mister. He's a little daredevil. I laughed. Hey, once upon a time, we were all Michael, or, whatever your name is. She smiled even more. Sarah Rhodes? And you are? Jason. And I gotta say, Sarah, your smile, it's the best one I've seen in a long time. She blushed a bit. Didn't expect that kind of compliment, I guess, but her smile was back in a second. Well, I don't hear that every day. Just then, I saw a black Ford F-150 rolling in, kicking up dirt and gravel like an idiot. Everyone else was pissed, but not me. I already knew this guy was trouble. But looking at Sarah, I could see it was worse than that. 4 guys got out. The big one was pure muscle. Probably 6'3", easy. 2 regular guys behind him, and the driver? A rich-looking kid, maybe 22, dressed like he was born into money. They all had that tough but rich vibe. Big guy had on cowboy boots, jeans, and a button-up shirt that showed off his muscles. The other 2 were in jeans, too, one with a blue hat and a black t-shirt, the other with a red shirt. But the driver? Lucchese boots, dark blue jeans, Versace shirt, and a Polaris watch. You could tell he thought he was something special. I could tell from Sarah's face, this wasn't going to be a good day. The rich kid walked up to Sarah like he owned the place, smirking. Well, Sarah, darling. Nice day, huh? Not as nice as you, though. I could see Sarah was done with this guy. Hell, I was, too. I watched the group, sizing them up. How far apart they were, who was near who, what I could do if I needed to. Get lost, Barry, Sarah shot back. We've got nothing to talk about. I already paid you what I owed. Take your crew and get out of here. Barry knocked over a mason jar of peaches, letting it smash. Whoops, guess that slipped, he said, grinning. Then he knocked another one off the table. Sarah's face was full of anger now. Now, Sarah, Barry said, still smiling, we helped you out with Michael's surgery. And it wasn't exactly out of the kindness of our hearts. I noticed a couple of customers taking off, not wanting anything to do with this. I also spotted a jar of homemade spicy sauce with a Looney Tunes character on the label. Might come in handy. We paid $300,000 for that surgery, Barry continued. But there's still the interest to pay. 30%, you're short $50,000. Sarah was pissed. 30%? Where the hell did you pull that from? Barry looked at the big guy who kicked over a candy stand. Don't interrupt me, Sarah, Barry said cold. You owe $50,000 more. You got that? Sarah snapped back. You know I don't have that. I'm barely hanging on after paying you off. Barry grinned. Nasty. Well, honey, I've got a solution for you. We got a club in the city. It's got a position open, special clientele, a dance here, a lap dance there, maybe a little Demonstration of what that body can do? Maybe I'll take a ride before anyone else, huh? Sarah didn't answer. She grabbed the billy club from behind the counter, but before she could swing, Barry grabbed it, twisting her hand painfully. Michael ran to her, but one of the guys grabbed him. Barry laughed. Dale, take the kid for a walk. Me and Sarah are going to get better acquainted. Dale groaned. Why do I always get the leftovers? Sarah spit in Barry's face. Go to hell, you piece of crap. Barry raised his hand like he was going to kick her, but then turned to Dale. Actually, Dale, keep the kid here. Let him see what his mama's about to go through. Sarah's face went pale. Seeing Michael in danger tore her up. No, Michael, close your eyes, she shouted. That's when I stepped forward, calm as hell. Excuse me, ma'am, I said, walking right up to Barry. I think I'll buy this sauce if that's all right with you. Barry sneered. Who the hell do you think you are, huh? You a retard or something? Before he could react, I smashed the sauce bottle across his face. Glass and burning sauce exploded everywhere. I grabbed the billy club from Sarah and swung it hard at the big guy's knee. He howled in pain, and before he could recover, I wrapped the club around his neck and kneed him in the face. His head snapped back, knocking him out cold. The other two just stood there, shocked. What the hell, Sam? This guy just took out Barry and Paul like it was nothing, one of them yelled. Now I knew their names. Barry, the rich boy, Paul, the muscle, Dale, the kid snatcher, and Sam, the last guy. Sam pulled out a big hunting knife. I'm gonna cut you up, hero, he yelled, all rage. I had to admit the guy had taste in knives. You hear me, you a-hole? Sam yelled. I smirked. Yeah, I hear you. That's the problem. He charged, and I turned to Sarah. Get back! Then Sam came at me like an idiot. Sam lunged at me, but he overextended. I stepped aside, grabbed his wrist, and twisted until the knife fell to the ground. A quick kick to his groin, and he dropped. I grabbed his hand, drove his own knife through it, pinning him to the floor. His scream echoed. I slammed his face into the counter, knocking him out cold. Blood and teeth flew everywhere. I turned to Dale, who was holding Michael, but now had him on the ground. Terror was written all over his face. Let the kid go, I said, voice cold. Without a word, Dale let Michael go. The boy ran into Sarah's arms, and she hugged him tight, tears falling. Michael, thank God you're okay. I knelt by Sam's body, took the knife off the counter, and asked, Mind if I leave this here for a sec? She hesitated, but shook her head no. Dale twitched like he might try something. I pulled out my .45, quiet as hell. I handed it to Sarah without looking back. Sarah, I trust you. If either of these a-holes makes a move, shoot him. Understand? Her grip on the tool was steady, no hesitation. I went out to the car, grabbed the duffel, and counted out 50 large right there on the hood. Barry was still on the ground, holding his ribs, looking like he was about to puke. I walked back over and dumped the stack right in front of him. Cash slapped the floor hard. That enough to shut your greedy mouth? 50 freaking grand, I said, staring down at him. Barry sniffled, wiping blood off his lip. He nodded quick, eyes wide like a scared dog. I crouched down, got real close. Good, now listen and listen good. You stay the hell away from this family. Next time I ain't handing out cash, it'll be a closed casket. You feel me? Yeah, he stuttered, voice cracking. Yeah, man, I got it. I stood up disgusted. Get the hell out of here before I change my mind. Barry waved to the others, and they limped out, Paul holding his bleeding side. I told Paul, use your shirt to stop the bleeding. You're getting blood all over Sarah's floor. They hobbled to the truck and drove off. I turned to Sarah. You and Michael good? She nodded, then knelt by Michael. Honey, go home, lock the door. I'll be there in a minute. Michael looked at me, then smiled, and gave me a hug before running off toward the house. It was close enough for me to know he'd be fine. Once he was inside, Sarah threw herself at me, sobbing hard. I just held her, let her cry without saying a word. She pulled away, still crying. That fool. He was going to make my boy watch. If not for you. She cried harder, then looked up at me. I don't know you, but thank you. Thank you so much. I wiped her tears, trying to calm her. They're gone. They won't come back, not while I'm here. She tightened her grip on me. I couldn't understand why someone would want to hurt her. But I silently promised she wouldn't be hurt again. I smiled, trying to lighten the mood. You know, wish asking someone out didn't always end up so messy. How about you? She laughed, despite everything. It was the most beautiful sound. Do you like pork chops, Jason? She asked. Are you kidding? I'll eat anything that's meat. I could bring wine, too, if you're cool with that. She smiled. Yeah, Jason, that'd be great. That night, I pulled up to her house. It was a nice, big farm, cornfields, cabbage, zucchini, and a big hen house. The house was beautiful. 3 stories, the kind you see in picture books. It looked perfect under the full moon, with stars scattered above. She opened the door in a blue sundress, her dark hair freshly done. I could smell the fresh soap and roses as she stepped forward. "Hello, Jason. You coming in?" I stepped inside. The place was warm and welcoming, a mix of old and new. A retro couch from the 70s facing a flat-screen TV. The kitchen had a 60s vibe, but modern appliances. A grandfather clock ticked softly near a love seat. "You've got a beautiful home," I said, taking it all in. "Thank you, Jason. Someone mentioned bringing a drink?" I pulled out a bottle of sweet peach wine. "Well, looks like my hero has good taste," she said with a smile. "We're going to get along fine." At the table, Michael ran up and hugged me, his bright smile making my day. I saw Sarah wipe away a tear. "Everything okay?" I asked. "I'm sorry," she said, wiping her eyes. "He's just not shown much emotion since his father died." I felt guilty. "Sorry, I didn't know." She waved it off. "It's all right. Like you said, you didn't know." I didn't push it. She quickly changed the subject. "Let's eat." She led me to the dining room. Michael sat at the head of the table, acting like the man of the house. "Man of the house, huh?" "Respect, sir," I joked. Michael gave me the sweetest smile, and Sarah smiled at him fondly. The meal was incredible. Fried pork chops with gravy, mashed potatoes, Brussels sprouts, a chef salad, and homemade blueberry cornbread. I hadn't even tasted it, but I knew I'd be back for more. "Well," Sarah teased, "that's kind of the point." We laughed. Then she leaned in. "Tell me, Jason, do you always save women at farmers markets?" "No," I grinned. "I don't. But hey, I was there for some tomatoes." "Tomatoes?" She raised an eyebrow. "Honey, cover your ears for mommy." Michael did as he was told. "My son and I were almost attacked because of tomatoes?" she asked, incredulous. "Yeah, well, that, and I don't like seeing women get hurt, especially in front of their kid," I said. I added, "Barry and his crew won't be back. Sam's gonna have it tough now, unless he's a lefty." Sarah let out a real laugh and waved Michael's hands down. We spent the next hour talking. I kept it simple, told her about my parents and my military time, but I asked about her too. She looked at Michael, now dozing off. "Uh-oh, looks like someone's tired." She picked him up. "Time for bed, little man. You had a big day." Michael gave me one last look, reaching out. "Looks like he wants a hug," I said. "Mind helping me get him to bed?" she asked. I nodded. "Happy to." Sarah nodded and we carried Michael to his room. It felt strange. Just met them today, but already I felt connected. The day was insane, but something clicked. As Michael fell asleep, Sarah sat beside him. I knew then I'd protect them. "Care to join me outside?" Sarah asked quietly. "I think I can share more now." I followed her out. The stars were bright. "I've lived here all my life," Sarah said, gazing up. "Born right here. Mom always said I was stubborn. I was born in the living room, not the hospital." She chuckled. "My parents were simple. Mom loved me. Dad worked hard, fixed everything. He could build anything. Made a grill out of an oil drum once. He was my hero." She wiped a tear. "They weren't perfect, but they made me smile. They loved me. I loved them." I felt that. Same love I had for my own parents. Then her voice dropped. "They died in a tornado last year. Dad tried to save Mom. He got us to the cellar, went back for her. We found them days later. I miss them so much." I pulled her close. "I'm sorry, losing your parents? It doesn't get easier." She sniffled. "Yeah, when you're a kid, they're superheroes. But even when you grow up, they never stop being that." She squeezed me tighter. "So, how'd you end up with this farm?" I asked quietly. She smiled, wiping her tears. "It's been in the family since the 40s. My great-granddad got it after Wano. He was a bounty hunter, did what he had to for the family." She grinned. "Met Grandma at a military hospital. He'd sweet-talk her into sharing strawberry jam sandwiches. That's how they fell in love." I raised an eyebrow. "Strawberry jam?" She laughed. "Yeah, he had a sweet tooth, and that sweet talk worked." Her eyes twinkled. "They saved each other's lives in the war, then they had Grandpa, and here we are." I smiled. "That's a hell of a legacy." She nodded. "Not much known before him, just that he was an orphan." She paused. "You probably want to know about Michael." I nodded. She gave a faint grin. "I was young when I had him. His dad and I met in high school. He was the town's hero. I was the small town girl. She sighed. Parents were pissed when I got pregnant, but I loved my baby. I raised him right, with my dad's blessing. You married him? I asked. She nodded. Right after high school, we did what we had to for Michael. I noticed. You don't talk about your husband much. Her face darkened. That's another story. I didn't press. She caught me staring at her face in the moonlight and laughed. What? I smiled. You're just so beautiful. She blushed. Well then, when's this handsome guy going to kiss me? I leaned in and kissed her, slow and deep. She pulled back, eyes full of longing. Jason, she whispered, stay with me tonight. I feel safe when you're around. I don't want you to leave. I kissed her again, this time harder. I'm not going anywhere. We went inside, up to her room. We made love for the rest of the night. The next morning, I woke up, feeling better than I had in years. I turned to see Sarah still asleep, her hair messy, her nightgown loose. Morning, sleepyhead, I teased. She groaned. Good morning, handsome. Sorry about the morning breath. She kissed me and I grinned. I was going to leave after I got my tomatoes, but I think I'll stick around. Sarah smirked. You were staying for the tomatoes? I chuckled. Well, they are damn good tomatoes. We laughed, then kissed again. Just as things were getting heated, a car pulled up. Sarah stiffened. No one comes out here, she said, grabbing jeans and a sweatshirt. I grabbed my pants and holstered my .45. Sarah grabbed a rifle. I grabbed her. Go to Michael's room, lock the door. I'll handle this. Jason, she said, worried. It could be those a-holes from yesterday. All the more reason to stay safe, I said firmly. I'll be fine. Promise. She kissed me quickly. Fine, but you better be all right after this. She slipped into Michael's room. Damn, watching her go into protective mode was hot. I went downstairs, ready. Outside, the black Ford truck sat in the driveway. Barry was there, swollen eyes. With him was an older man, a musclehead in a suit, and another guy in sunglasses. The older man stepped up. Good morning, sir. I was hoping to see Miss Rhodes, but it's a pleasure to meet you. I understand you met my nephew Barry yesterday. I leaned back, a smirk curling on my lips. Yeah, we had a little misunderstanding. Your boy thought it was cool to put his hands on a woman in front of her kid. Didn't sit too well with me. My eyes shifted to Barry, still standing there like a cornered animal. How's your buddy Sam? Is he finally learning how to wipe his A with his left hand? Or do I need to send him a tutorial? Barry's face turned red as a tomato, his fists twitching like he was about to throw down. You little scum sucker. You think you're funny? I'll blow that smug smile right off your... Barry, the older guy cut him off, his voice hard as stone. Barry froze, like he knew better than to test that line. I kept my eyes locked on the older man and his bodyguard, scanning them both. These two were the real danger. I could feel the weight of it in the air, like I was standing on the edge of something bad. The older man smirked, his voice smooth, like he'd been doing this crap for decades. I apologize for my nephew, he said, not looking at Barry. He tends to be brash. I raised an eyebrow. You don't say, I shot back, sarcasm dripping off every word. Here I thought he was just a damn moron. Barry's knuckles went white as he clenched his fists, but he didn't make a move. Smart for once. The old man didn't flinch. I'm sorry, young man, he said, his voice still calm as hell. I don't believe we've been properly introduced. My name is Maxwell Stevens. I'm what you might call a business opportunist. I see opportunity, and I take it. He leaned in a little, his eyes sharp. Now, to my understanding, you paid off Miss Rhodes' debt. Admirable. Yet I'm curious. Why would you do that? I stayed quiet as Maxwell spoke. His calm, polished demeanor told me he was more dangerous than Barry. Not talking? Maxwell said. You've sent some of my men to the hospital, Mr. Jason Wynn. I didn't flinch. My new identity was solid, thanks to Simon. I'll be blunt, Maxwell continued. I want you to work for me. Barry's head snapped up. He didn't expect that, neither did I. Almost laughed at the absurdity. I could use someone like you, Maxwell said. You'd be an asset. Money's no problem. He leaned in, then added, and Sarah? My fist clenched. You can have all the Sarahs you want, boy. Nina, Becca, Maria, whoever. Just say the word. I could feel Sarah watching, rifle ready. I had to stay smart. So, Mr. Wynn, Maxwell asked, what's your answer? I smiled. I'll have to pass. I'm working for Miss Rhodes now. The farm needs work, and people at the market can be aggressive. Maxwell's smile faded. His face turned cold. I'm disappointed, Mr. Wynn, he said. I'll take further action. Have a good day. We'll be in touch. I watched them leave. Barry flipped me off. I blew him a kiss. Yeah, I'll see you soon, Barry. When they were gone, Sarah rushed over and hugged me. Oh my God, I was so scared, she said. I smiled. What? Scared to use the rifle? She gave me a determined look. I would have shot him dead. I'm sorry for all this, Jason. I cupped her face. You don't need to apologize. Whatever comes, we face it together. She kissed me. Okay, together it is. Just don't hurt me. You have my word, she smiled. So you work for me now? I grinned. Yes, ma'am, if you'll have me. I've got more skills than you think. She raised an eyebrow. So you can do more than last night? I matched her smile. More than you think. Jokes aside, I said, I'd like to work for you. I can help with the farm, the market. All I need is food and a place to stay. She slid her hand around my waist. Is that all? Anything to be near you is a bonus. With a kiss, we sealed the deal. A few months passed. I worked hard, harvesting, repairs, and running the farm. Sarah was impressed at how quickly I adapted. Michael and I bonded. I even got him his own tractor. On his birthday, Sarah and I surprised him. He dressed as his favorite wrestler, face paint, tights, the whole deal. I came out in a ridiculous outfit. We wrestled like pros, letting him win. Sarah counted, and Michael's smile lit up the room. I helped at the market, and a few women checked me out. Sarah teased me. You little hoe, she said with a grin. How dare you, madam, label me? I fired back. We laughed. Later, I took her picture at the farm. She was shy at first, but when she smiled, it was breathtaking. We were falling hard for each other, every day, every night, making love, feeling like a dream. But everything changed a month later. We took Michael to the state fair. He was thrilled, running from ride to ride. Sarah and I followed, laughing, but I saw tears rolling down her face. What's wrong? I asked. She kissed me. Jason, ever since you came here, Michael's been happy. Before, he wasn't. She paused. Jason, I have to tell you something. An older woman interrupted. Sarah, hello? She beamed. Sarah recovered quickly. I'm fine, Brenda, thank you. Brenda smiled. And who is this? Brenda, this is my boyfriend, Jason, Sarah said. I extended my hand. Pleasure to meet you. Brenda gave me a look like I was a prize. Oh, my dear, you are blessed to have such a fine specimen. Before Sarah could respond, Michael tugged at her. Uh-oh, looks like someone needs to go, she said. Brenda smiled. We'll catch up later. Sarah kissed me quickly. Baby, mind talking to Brenda while I get Michael. I promise she doesn't bite. With her smile, how could I say no? I'll be right here. Sarah walked off with Michael, leaving me with Brenda. Brenda sighed. It's nice seeing them smile again after Sarah and Michael lost Franklin last year. My stomach dropped. Wait, did you say Franklin? I asked. Brenda nodded. Franklin Jefferson. Some madman shot him and his mistress last year. The whole town was devastated. My mind went blank. Everyone loved Franklin, Brenda said. He coached Little League, volunteered, saved my life once. He was a saint. My world crashed. Franklin Jefferson, the man I shot, Sarah's Franklin. They were our neighborhood heroes, Brenda added. It's so tragic. But thank God you're here for Sarah, Jason. I stood frozen, my mind spinning. I had taken something from them, eliminated someone they loved. After everything, I had slept with her, promised to protect her, and taken someone she once loved. Tears stung my eyes. What kind of monster was I? It wasn't just the homicide, it was the betrayal, the false comfort I gave her without the truth. I had to leave, but I couldn't just vanish. They didn't deserve that. I'd leave a note, some money, but I had to tell her. She and Michael deserved that much. I was lost in my thoughts when a soft hand touched my shoulder. I turned to see Sarah holding Michael. Are you okay, baby? She asked, her voice soft. That smile, I didn't deserve it. Michael's tired, she said. Let's call it a night, and you can tell me what's on your mind. I forced a sad smile. Yeah, we need to talk. The drive home was quiet. She kept glancing at me, probably wondering what was wrong. I couldn't say it, not yet, not until we were home. When we got inside, I offered to take Michael upstairs. I tucked him in, watching him fall asleep peacefully. I'm sorry, Michael, I whispered. Then I turned, and Sarah stood in the doorway. Jason, why are you sorry? What's wrong? I broke down. Sarah, we need to talk. We sat on the couch, and I took a deep breath. Before anything, I need you to know I love you. I love you and Michael more than anything. These months have been heaven. You've given me peace, purpose. I'll always be grateful. I paused. But my name isn't Jason Wynn. It's Al Simmons. She didn't move. I found your husband with my wife, and I eliminated them both. I'm so sorry. I looked down. I've decided to turn myself in. I'll leave now, go to the police. But if you want to scream, hate me, eliminate me, I understand. I took someone from you. I'm not worthy of your love. I hope one day you and Michael can forgive me. She slapped me hard. But then she threw her arms around me and sobbed. You a-hole, she cried. You think I'd let you walk away after you made me fall for you? I was stunned. I just told you I eliminated Franklin, I said. I know, she replied, shaking. And I don't care. I stared at her. I've known since the first week, maybe the first day. Then why? I asked. She smiled sadly. Al, I know you, your face, your voice. You think a woman doesn't know her man? I couldn't speak. But why don't you care that I eliminated your husband? Her smile faded. Because that fool wasn't a saint. He was a monster. The town loved his mask, not who he really was. She took a breath, tears welling. He kicked me all the time. I was just a trophy. He'd kick me when I was pregnant. She wiped her eyes. When I threatened to leave, he'd cry, apologize. I believed him. I wanted Michael to have a family, but he couldn't love. Her voice dropped. A month before you eliminated him, I found out I was pregnant again. But when I told him, he didn't care. He was drunk. She trembled. That night, he attacked me, punched me. I clenched my fists, shaking. There was blood everywhere, she whispered. I begged him to take me to the doctor, but he slapped me, told me to shut up. I was sitting in my nightgown, blood everywhere, and Michael came in. She broke down. He tried to save me. My boy shot him with his toy bat, screamed, "Get away from my mommy!" I felt sick. Franklin grabbed him by the neck, choked him, laughed while doing it, called him a runt, punched him in the ribs. She looked at me, broken. I fought him. I scratched, bit, anything to save Michael. I screamed, "Let go of my son, you fool!" I imagined the horror. He threw Michael into the wall, like garbage, left a hole in the plaster. He laughed. She fell apart again, crying. That man you eliminated, he wasn't a father. He was a demon wearing a fireman's jacket. I held her, speechless. Al, she whispered, you didn't take someone I loved. You saved me from him. I thought back to shooting him, how cruel I was, how he begged for his life. But after hearing this, I realized he got off easy. He deserved worse. Sarah continued. I tried to fight him again, but he punched my stomach. The baby died. He told me if I said anything, he'd eliminate Michael slowly. He took us to the hospital, told them we fell down the stairs. The doctor told me I lost the baby. He also said I couldn't have kids again. Michael might never talk. She cried again. I let her. I had to go to Max for money. No one would believe me. The town loved Franklin. I stayed on the farm. I don't hate them, but they're puppets. I was a prisoner in my own home. I hated my life. The only reason I didn't end it was Michael. But when word got around that Franklin died, I smiled for the first time. God forgive me, but I did. I never thought I could wish pass away on someone, until him. She looked at me with tears still in her eyes. Al, I know you feel like you don't deserve me or Michael's love, but you do. I love you, Al Simmons, with everything in me. I know you're scared, but don't think I hate you for liquidating that monster. You're the father Michael deserves. You made him love again. I love you, Al. You hear me? I kissed her. I love you too, Sarah Rhodes. We made love again, thinking it was the last time. Around 3 a.m., I heard something. I woke Sarah up, told her to stay put, and said, I'm going to get to Michael. I stepped out and saw Barry in the hallway with a rifle, Sam and Paul with him. No hesitation. I took my shots. Sam and Paul dropped instantly. Barry aimed at me, but I was faster. A bullet to his brain, and he never got the chance to pull the trigger. I ran to Michael's room. I couldn't find him at first, but then I heard something in the closet. I found him hiding there. Michael, it's okay, buddy. It's me. Come on. We got to get your mom. I reunited with them in the bedroom and locked the door. Told them to stay inside. The door was solid oak, windows bulletproof. No one was getting in. Once the upper floor was clear, I went downstairs. I saw a shadow at the bottom of the steps. I shot at the wall and the body dropped. Back to Michael's room, I checked the window. No one. Time to move. Outside, I crept toward the front. A squad of guys had their tools aimed at my stairs. I flanked them, took them out with automatic fire. They didn't know how to slice the pie. 7 men down. Before I could take a breath, another group rushed in a van. I fired at the driver, taking him out, sending the van crashing into a tractor. It started leaking gas. I threw a lit match on it and watched the van burn. No one made it out. More men came. More men died. Then I ran out of ammo. A lone guy walked into the chaos. Black shirt, tactical pants, boots. Same guy from that day. "I'm impressed," he said. "Takes guts to do that." I shrugged. "You should see my weekend work," he laughed. "You seem like a decent guy. Shame to eliminate you." "Same to you," I replied, "though I'd hate to die." He pulled out a throwing knife. It grazed my face. Then he charged at me, blade glinting. I drew the knife I took from Sam, blocking his slash, and kicked him hard. He staggered back, coughing, then smiled like a devil. "Nice move," he said. "That knife's a good match for you." I stared at him. "You and Sam can talk about it later." He lunged, cutting at my leg. I dodged, recognized his style, arnis, Filipino knife fighting. He was good, but I knew what I was doing. Vinny trained me in arnis, silat, sistema, stuff that could keep me alive. He made a mistake, overreaching with a high swing, too frustrated. Vinny said knife fighting is like chess, plan, then strike. I waited for the opening. I jabbed my knife into his ribs, puncturing his lungs. As he backed off, I moved behind him, slicing around his body, cutting his spinal cord, then finished him with a clean throat cut. He stood for a moment, blood pouring from his mouth. "Nice," he whispered, then dropped. I headed back to the house, knocked on the door, called out. When Sarah opened it, both she and Michael hugged me tight. I held them, hearing sirens in the distance. It was a war, but we were safe. Before the cops arrived, I gave Sarah Simon's number and told her to destroy the burner phone after the call. Then I told her she'd be taken care of. When the police showed up, they were shocked by the carnage. They were scared when they realized I was behind it all. I told them who I was, and I made it clear Sarah was innocent. Special Agent Murphy came down to take me back to Pennsylvania. The feds wanted to throw the book at me, but my lawyer, provided by Simon, argued that it was self-defense. The guys I eliminated had criminal records, trafficking, homicide, the works. It turned out Franklin wasn't as clean as he seemed. Valerie had been luring women into the sex trade, posing as a talent agent, targeting vulnerable girls. Franklin and others would attack them, sometimes for hours. It sickened me to think Valerie, the woman I once loved, was a monster. After the mission, I was on through their operation into chaos. The women they trafficked were freed. The double homicide charges were dropped, but I still had to serve at least 7 years for evading arrest. At the hearing, I pled guilty. My family, Vinny, Bridget, Simon, and Sarah were there. I told Sarah not to wait for me. "This is my bullet to bite." She kissed me. "I want to go to Jamaica for our honeymoon. I'm waiting for you. We both are." They sent me to a federal prison up north, but Simon and my funds made sure Sarah and Michael could visit. I also heard Maxwell Stevens was pissed I eliminated his nephew. He wanted revenge on my family, but Simon and some folks from Indiana made sure that didn't happen. Maxwell was taken to Simon's special clinic, never to be seen again, so here I am. The guard tells me it's time. As I pack up, Father Mac pats me on the shoulder. He's a good guy, a Marine like me. The guard is firm but fair as they escort me out. It's been a long 7 years without holding my love and being with my boy, but soon I'll be free.